That's the extent of my Espanol. It's nice to be here. I should tell you up front so then we can get moving on. I am not a speaker. I am a stand-up comedian. If I was a speaker, that would mean you might learn something with our time. As a stand-up comic, if you learn anything, trust me, you completely misunderstood it. I have been married 27 years to the same woman. Thank you for that rousing round of applause. People ask me all the time, how do you keep the romance alive? We don't. Who needs that kind of pressure? My wife and I have gotten to the point where we start hiding food in our bedroom to keep it away from the kids. How sad and pathetic is that? We have a stash of brownies and muffins next to our bed. So when we go in our room late at night and lock the bedroom door, they may think we're doing something else, but we're just under the covers eating brownies and laughing at them. Trust me, you hit 50, your life gets pathetic. It really does. The brownies are here. Woo! We'd run down the hall holding hands. Lock the door before they smell them. They'll want one. That's all we do in bed anymore anyway, is eat. We bought one of those beds that you can, each side of the bed has a number. The higher the number, the harder the mattress. We can dial in the kind of softness or hardness we want. My side of the bed is number 100. Marble, slab. It's as hard as you can get a piece of foam. That's my side of the bed. My wife's side of the bed is number 2. First night she laid on her side of the bed, she literally disappeared from view. Poor woman was laying in a fajita on her side of the bed. The mattress wrapped around her like a flour tortilla. I rolled over to kiss her goodnight. I fell into a ditch. I couldn't get out. I'm laying there. She's going, get off of me. What are you doing over here? Get off of me. By the way, if you're a newlywed, that's the sound of 27 years of love right there. You're on my hair. You haven't shaved. Your breath smells. Get going. Don't get me wrong. My wife and I, we try to be intimate. We just remember how much time and energy it takes, and we'd rather watch Law and Order. We try. We just save it for special holidays now. My wife's favorite's leap year. Yeah, I'll dim the lights, put on Ciudad, and she'll go, has it been 4 years already? The woman falls asleep at 9:15 every night, 9:15. At 9:10, I'll look at her on the couch. It's like a gas leak went off in our living room. Hey, sweetheart, maybe you should go to bed. No, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. What are you, a 5-year-old child? Quit fighting it. Shut up. It's my favorite show. She's seen the beginning of every Law and Order for 5 years. Now they come on and rerun and she gets angry. I've seen this one. Well, give it 20 minutes. I've learned one thing in 27 years of marriage. If you're going to learn anything today, this is it. One thing, 27 years. Happy wife, happy life. If you're married, you already knew that. And if you're not married, you better write it down. And not on some piece of paper. Go out and get yourself a stone tablet and a chisel. Be number 11 if you're counting them. My father tried to tell me that on my wedding day. My father sat me down at the church on my wedding day and said to me, I have one piece of marital advice for you. Before you argue with your new wife, and believe me, you're going to argue with her. Before you do, I want you to stop and ask yourself 2 questions. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And then he broke down and sobbed right in front of me. It's pathetic. I had no idea what the man was talking about. 27 years later, I can tell you, I'm a happy, happy, happy man. I ain't been right in 12 years. Sometimes I have to ask my wife, am I happy? Oh, you better believe you're happy. Okay. I was just checking with you, Buttercup. I got to call my buddies up. I can't go golfing, but I'm a happy, happy, happy man. And don't get me wrong, we argue, my wife and I. You've got to argue in your marriage. You don't argue in your marriage, it'll build up in your brain, and over time, it'll make you goofy. You'll wind up like those babbling, mumbling couples, and you've seen them, 50-plus years of marriage, they're walking down the street. You look at the wife, she's fine. It's the husband 8 feet behind her that scares me to death. Guy's all hunched over, vibrating, mumbling to himself. Oh, he's telling me what to do. Well, I'm going to start telling you what to do. I'm a man. You can't tell me what to do no more. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. This poor guy's trying to win back all the arguments he's been throwing away for 50 years. He was 6'3" when he got married. Now look at him, he's 4'1", weighed down by a half a century of apathy. Leave a toilet seat up if I want to leave a toilet seat up. Tell me what to do. I hope you sit in the water every night. I don't care anymore. That's when she turns around. What'd you just say? I didn't say nothing to you, woman. So you got to get it out. You got to learn to communicate. That's the big word. You got to learn to communicate. Some guy named Gary Chapman wrote a book called 5 Love Languages. 5 Languages of Love. My wife and I read that book twice in 1 week because we didn't see our love language in there. Apparently, bitterness and sarcasm isn't part of Dr. Gary Chapman's love life. You have to learn how your spouse communicates. Took me 2 years of marriage to figure out my wife will never tell me to do anything around our home. If she wants me to do something, she'll ask me a question. From that question, I got to stand there and figure out what she wants me to do. Say I leave a pair of my underwear in the middle of the bedroom floor, which is not unusual because when I was a single man, I learned how to walk out of my underwear on the way to the shower. You walk, you get to the end, you hop right out of them babies. And you leave them in the middle of the room because then you have your underwear inventory at your fingertips. 8 on the floor, must be 4 still in the drawer. It was a good system. And I got married and found out my system frosts my wife. That's her word when she's really angry with me. That just frosts me. And if I'm not frosting her, I'm driving her up a wall. Another one of her favorites. Kids would come in, where's mom? She's up the wall with frostbite, that's all I know. And you won't believe what put her there, boy. It was that pair of underwear in the middle of the bedroom floor. You were looking at the most powerful pair of cotton on the planet. They defy gravity and change temperatures. And they're mine. So I leave my drawers in the middle of the room. Now, would my wife come to me and say to me, pick those up? That's 3 words. Pick those up. Would she say them? No, because that would be simple, direct, and right to the point. And at that moment, my wife and I would be communicating at the highest human level, the way God the Creator intended it, through language. My wife looks at me, looks at my underwear, and then asks me, are those yours? I sure hope they are, otherwise I got a few questions of my own. My favorite question, I wasn't married 3 months. I'm leaving the house. I have golf clubs on my shoulder, golf shoes in my hand. And every married man in this room knows what my wife asked me. Where are you going? I was only married a few months. I said, I'm going bowling, Columbo. Well, if you're taking notes, that would be the wrong answer. 2 hours later, I was still in my living room. Come on, baby, give me a hint, give me a clue. Tell me, come on, what is this about? It's about knowing the right answer. That's what it's about. Why your beautiful, intelligent wife would ask such a banal question. I know better today. If I'm leaving my house today with golf clubs on my shoulder and my wife says, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to put these in the car and come back and mow our lawn. That's where I'm going. I looked at my parents. They were married 55 years. They had their own love language. The last Christmas we spent together, we were sitting in the living room watching television, and my dad started speaking in his language. My mother got up and left the room, came back 10 minutes later with 2 hot dogs and a soda pop for the man. How cool is that? So I say to my wife, did you see that? She goes, I did. I go, you think we'll ever get there? She goes, shoot me if we do. You start hocking hairballs at me, I'm taking you out. And that's important when you communicate. You've got to get it out. You can't let things build up and fester because violence happens. I read in a newspaper article 6-8 months ago, a woman stabbed her husband while he was sleeping, stabbed him while he was sleeping. You think they had a few issues? This didn't happen because he burned her toast that morning. And she went to court. This is what gets me. Her defense was, in court, I had no other choice. This means she had a list and she was crossing things off the list. got to stab him while he's sleeping, well, that's it. I'm out of choices. Ladies, let me plead with you. If you're at that point in your relationship and marriage that is on the list, stabbing him is on the list, you need to talk to your man. I don't care what he says. We need to talk. No, I'm a little busy. Oh, no, I think you need to hear this. I'm seriously thinking of putting a steak knife in your skull. I guarantee you that boy will put the golf clubs right down. Pull up a chair, get a cup of coffee. What else is going on in that pretty little head of yours? Now that I'm thinking about it, I've been a little neglectful. Things change as you get married. Things change. My wife started menopause 5 years ago. There are nights, not every night, but some nights I lie in bed and dream about the good old days of PMS. There are weeks I just cannot get our home cold enough for that woman. She's on the phone with the air conditioning guy 4 days a week. It's broken. There's not enough freon in the world for that woman. Trust me, if there is a hole in the ozone, it's over the roof of my home in Nashville, Tennessee. It's 48 degrees in my bedroom. I got meat hanging off my curtain rods, for gosh sakes. She'll walk in at 10 o'clock and turn on some 64-bladed fan she installed. I had to bolt the furniture to the floor to keep it from getting sucked up through the roof. And she stands in the middle of the room. Why is it so hot in here? Why is it so hot? I can't see her from the fog coming out of her mouth. And then she wakes me up to feel her night sweats. Is that even necessary? I'm sound asleep. She zips my parka open while I'm sleeping there, just zips it open. Jeffrey, wake up, feel this. It's disgusting. Look at me. I'm just sitting here. There's like a furnace in me or something. Boy, you're lucky you don't have to go through this. You know, I wouldn't if you'd quit waking me up. I could sleep right through your sweating. I could. Then I told my boys, watch out, Mom's going through some serious stuff. Like what? Remember those nights you didn't do your homework right away? She'd get mad and really yell at you? He goes, yeah, I remember that. I said it'd be a little different now. She might start crying and then stab you. So you guys have been great. God bless you. Thank you all very much. Thank you.